What it do, people? It's your boy Dre Day every day, and today I'm coming with a video. This is way ahead of schedule because I planned on reviewing albums, probably rolling that out next year. But ever since this joint came out, I haven't been able to turn it off. Um, Plus, Mr. Kendrick Lamar has not dropped a project in like 5 years, so I figured why not just go ahead and instead of doing another artist analysis, which was gonna come, but I'm gonna go ahead and review Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and this is gonna kick off my album reviews. I don't know how consistent I'll be with this, but I'm just doing this one because this fucking album just blew me the fuck away. And yeah, I was sitting up looking at every people on social media. Oh, it's fucking trash. It's this, it's that. And then you got these other people. It's like it's classic. And the album hadn't even been out for a full 24 hours. All that shit. That's why, I wanted to sit down, really listen to it, and get how I feel of it. I got a good grasp of everything. And I'm going to give my review now that we're outside of the release window. Because I don't believe motherfuckers who put out you listen to the album one time and you got this long think piece about the shit. Get the fuck out of here. Some people do have the mental capacity to review an album off one listen, but you don't. You're not covering every single thing though. You could give like just a simple approach. If you have a simple approach, listen, you could describe it in one listen, but you're not cutting into the meat of this shit. So, but anyway, man, this album right here. Well, for one, I took a picture of my plays just so I could show you what I've been listening to. I'm gonna put it right here, and you can just kind of take a look at it. You'll probably have to screenshot this photo. Well, screenshot me and then zoom in so you can see the numbers. But I pulled this off my laptop. I plugged my laptop up so I could get this, so I could show people, so I could show you exactly what has been resonating with me and how much of the album that I truly like. And man, I love this fucking project, man. This this is possibly the most vulnerable project that I've ever heard any rapper ever put out. Period. Like, and for me, this is what I appreciate. You know, I don't. I'm not the biggest fan of listening to these rappers who have these big time dope dealer personas or these egos, and I get that fucking shit out of here. What? Who are you? Who are you actually? And man, this album, like, and Kendrick, he has on the album cover, he's here with the crown of thorns on. He has the gun in his back pocket. He's holding his baby. Uh, his wife is sitting on the bed holding another baby. I don't know if they had another kid, but I guess this is revealing that they have another kid. But because I don't follow the celebrities' real lives or whatsoever, personal lives or whatnot, unless it makes some sort of headline. But this whole thing, this whole crown of thorns thing, it's almost like this album is him hanging himself from the cross, because like he, he's showing that he has some deep seated issues in this shit, and I'm like, some of this shit had my eyes bugged. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And this album is just fucking beautiful, man. I don't know what people are not liking. If this, but I can't say this definitely is not an easy listen, because this album, listening to Kendrick talk about his problems, is going to make you self-reflect. And if you're not that kind of person, if you're like a avoidant personality, and you and you have some deep-seated issues that you haven't fully addressed, yes, this might not be a good listen for you. This might not be something that you can sit through, because he's just going so deep and so hard into what's going on with him, and he's trying to be a better man for his wife and children. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of time he's on. That's why this album is so fucking beautiful, man. But let me start jumping into it. Like, you know, for one, we started off with what is it? Let me get my iPod so I can look at the track list. So we got United in Grief. Or as an overview, this album feels like a therapy session. You know what I'm saying? Like, kind of, and he's admitted in the album that he is in therapy with or had a therapy session with the Eckhart Tolle. I don't know that guy. I don't follow, like I said, I don't really follow too many people, but Eckhart Tolle, he's name dropped in the album a few times. But we start with United in Grief. And basically United in Grief is kind of him talking about, all of the things that he's starting to spend money on as a coping mechanism with possibly friends turning on him, people dying and stuff like that. And also, what I'll say is Kendrick Lamar did a lot of unusual things with this album, because with United in Grief specifically, when the beat switches to the percussion and kick, the kick drums and when it just went full percussion, and I'm sitting up like, okay, I was listening to the beat and I was expecting him to, because when I talked about him on my artist analysis, Kendrick likes to mirror his flow off certain things. So I was just sitting up listening to it, and I was like, what is he going to mirror his flow off? So I was kind of imagining the flow, and then he just kind of jumped on it. And he was just rapping with a style. He didn't mirror his flow off anything. And I was just like, I actually got kind of frustrated, like, what the fuck? Which kind of was like symbolic. It's already a sign like, okay, I'm not finna give you my typical shit right here. But anyway, listening to that, then going into N95, and N95 is my shit. I like that first verse better than the other two, but that N95 pretty much is like a record that's just him speaking on things that he needs to separate from. And another thing too, just to get this out the way, Kendrick's music is always internal, no matter what it is. Because I hear a lot of people the critics of Kendrick, they always say, oh, his music has some sort of political, where's the, I even seen someone describe this as political. Where's the political shit in this project? This whole album is about him. To Pimp a Butterfly was about him. Damn is about him. It's how he fits in society. His look is, I don't hear the political shit that, I think that it's people that's not even listening to the project and trying to have a critique, but that's just, I'm only mentioning that because we're talking about this album. If you hear political, please let me know in the comments which song and which lyrics reflect political to you, but I don't hear it at all. But anyway, the N95 record is about things that he needs to separate himself from. Now, Worldwide Steppers is the record, one of the first records that made my eyes buck. And it was like in that part where he was talking about, what he said, something about, when he got to the part where he was like, something, I don't know how I feel like the first time I fucked a white bitch. Then he was like, the first time I fucked a white bitch, I was 16. And then that kind of raised an eyebrow. But then when he was like, the next time I fucked a white bitch, I was out in Copenhagen. A Good Kid, Mad City tour, I flourished on them stages. Now with me, I know that he's been with, I was like, wait, he's had a fucking girl this whole time. I don't know if it goes back to when he was 16, but I do know that he's been with that chick Whitney Alford for a long time. And when he was saying this shit, like God damn, like he's saying this shit on the album, and I'm sure that she's heard it, and I'm sure that he's talked about it with her, but that shit just caught me off guard, like, shit. Even though that message is kind of parallel to what he talked about in These Walls, about when he wrote the story about having an enemy that was in jail that had killed one of his I don't know if his friends or family members, and he was fucking his baby mom as some get back. And right here, the way he was talking about fucking these white women, it wasn't even for like a lust type of thing. It was like he was trying to get some get back. One of them, he was like, what he said something, I can't remember the lyrics verbatim, but he said something about something like the chick that he was fucking, she was the daughter or niece of a police chief. He was like, oh, that's double win-win because he locked up Uncle Perry. So I was just like, it's crazy to think about that. For me, it's throw because I don't know if I could have sex with someone with malicious intent. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that kind of caught me off guard. I ain't gonna say it kind of caught me off guard. This is when my eyes bucked. Like, oh shit. Then we go into Die Hard, and Die Hard is got a nice little bounce to it. You could play that joint next to These Walls if we talking about just musically. Put that joint in a playlist next to These Walls, do your little two-step. But Die Hard is a record about how his ego needs to die. And some of my favorite rappers, they do this a lot. They take these very serious themes, or either serious or sad or depressing things, and they'll make like a happy, joyful, or playful type song. And that's exactly what Die Hard is. It's like Die Hard kind of feels good to listen to, but it's about how his ego needs to die, and he's having trouble getting rid of it. Then we go into Father Time. Father Time for me, it didn't really connect because it's about having daddy issues. You know, basically that whole stand up and be a man. You done hurt yourself, or you feel like you're weak, and you when you like my video when I'm talking about feeling defeated. Oh, just man up, like, and he's like just speaking to the idea of him having to deal with daddy issues. A lot of these songs that he's talking about, at least in the front half of the album, a lot of this stuff is him looking at issues that he needs to address. The second disc, even though it's even getting the CD, it's only one disc in here, nothing behind it. So even though it's labeled book 1 and 2 is still all on one disc, I was kind of surprised at that. But the way it's labeled, the first 9 songs, side A, these are kind of like the things that need to be purged. Side B are the things that it's almost like we're working our way into the healing section. But Father Time, Daddy Issues, I didn't really connect with that record. It's not a bad one, but I didn't really connect with it. The Rich interlude with Kodak talking, and I don't really know what Kodak was talking about. And Kodak being on the album so much, it made me think like, what is this about? But Rich Spirit is my favorite song on here, and it has the most layers to it. Rich Spirit is like, for me, it's kind of like it's like recognizing self-worth, and your self-value, but it's still within the context of struggling with the ego. Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song. Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song. Hey, bitch, I'm a track. So it's like he's seeing his self-worth, but he still kind of has to fight through his ego to get to it. Then also, like, his bar work is he got a little technical in there where he's like, the morality can weigh feedback on low latency. I'm glitching from the face as my thoughts grow sacredly. I'm running out of space. Ask Whitney, she okay? Never mind 100K. While you lying on Benjamin, he's turning in his grave. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't get his shit away. Be aloof Buddha. I'm Christ with a shooter. Praise to Muhammad. I might nigga news you. So this Rich Spirit is one of, you'll see in the picture that I put up earlier. I ran that one back like, I think that shit said 65 times. But yeah, that's my shit on here. Then We Cry Together is it's about toxic relationships, and some of us have been, I've talked to people that I've talked to in my immediate surroundings, they were saying that this was their favorite record. And I was just kind of like, this shit made me cringe like fuck. I've been in relationships like this, and I was like, man, It's a tough listen. I understand what it means artistically. I understand how it fits in the theme of, okay, these are things that need to be purged, and we need to talk about when the whole concept of the therapy session. Yes, we need to talk about these toxic relationships because they're potentially affecting your relationship that you have with your wife, and apparently infidelity was one thing. Then we have Purple Hearts, and I think with Purple Hearts, this is kind of, which is the last song on the first side. This song is more is it really should have been on the second side, but it's like, shut the fuck up when you hear love talking. Like, it's another song kind of checking itself, like struggling with the ego, like, love might be saying something, but am I paying attention to it? Now, nigga, I need to shut the fuck up when y'all hear love talking. And then that Ghostface feature actually caught me off guard, and it was a nice little change up. Just more of what I was saying, how Kendrick did things that weren't typical to his usual artistry. Now, get over to side B, Count Me Out. And I think at the beginning it was like Session 10, Breakthrough, which even further indicates that this side of the album is we're breaking through with the shit that we struggle with in the first disc. We're breaking through with the second disc, or the second half, however you want to look at it. But Count Me Out. That first verse that's my verse of the year. That shit brought me to tears. Just speaking about, you know, all of your successes, and all your successes next to your failures, and just carrying the weight of what you're trying to do, and maybe achieving it on one side but failing at it on another side, or just failing altogether. And then we was like, when he was like, at the end of the first verse, we was like, every emotion being deprived, even my strong points couldn't survive. If I didn't learn to love myself, forgive myself 100 times, dog. That's the part that just really put me in tears, man, because this whole journey of trying to make what you want out of life, and when you take it serious, and when you put your blood, sweat, and tears in this shit, and you're not getting that, man, you can check my hard work doesn't pay off video. Check out my feeling defeated video. Check out my everything is war video. You can quite those up if you want to see personally how this album or this particular song connects with me. Listen to those watch those videos, and then turn this song on and listen to it from my perspective, so you know that I'm not just making this shit up. Because this it might sound weird, because the people that I see, everybody's calling it trash. I haven't seen many people objectively break down the album. Some of my homies on Facebook, I'm seeing some of my homies that they liking it, but the noise is coming from everyone calling it trash, and hey, whatever the fuck. But let's get past Count Me Out. Then Crown is basically recognizing the position he's in. You know, heavy is the head. Heavy is the head that chose to wear the crown. It's really talking about family and friends, and this is kind of a further spin on what is his record? Every time you come around, you be wanting that whoop de woo, blase blah. He say, she say. That last verse was kind of talking about like family that just kind of reaching at him and pulling at him. But that record is about he'll never be able to do enough. Coming right, especially coming right off Count Me Out, thinking about the times that he's failed. But then the crown is the recognition that, okay, no matter how much I achieve or what I even do for somebody, it's never going to be enough. So it's kind of like a little interlude song, because it's kind of like a hum type of thing. But now, Silent Hill was the record that I saw in the track list, and I was looking at that shit like, why the fuck does he have a song called Silent Hill? And Silent Hill is one of my favorite game series. I'm like, does he have knowledge of the Silent Hill lore, and it's featuring Kodak Black. I'm like, damn, this shit look like it came out of Silent Hill, because this shit don't even look right. So I was actually, when I first saw this in the playlist, I'm sorry, the track list, I get down there had PTSD because I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but I knew I was going to listen to the album in sequential order. But Silent Hill is one of my favorite songs. It's one of my most played. It was my first favorite song. But the whole concept of the Silent Hill record is basically, it's a flip on how he likes to sit to himself, and like, just when everything's going on, he just disconnects. As a matter of fact, he has a reference in to this, he has a reference to it in Savior, where it was like something about, and they like to wonder where I've been, protecting my myself in the valley of silence. So he just basically like, man, I'm just ducked off. Matter of fact, it's another line in the album where it was like, my whole life been social distance. Shit like that. And going from, so, and then, man, Kodak Black killed this. I'm not much of a Kodak listener. I kind of got the vibes that he was kind of like a new school Boosie, and I'm not a big Boosie fan, so I've never dived into Kodak's catalog, but he killed this. I was sitting up, I think the first, let me see, I think if I had 75 plays, it was like, had the probably about the first 20 plays was me kind of in amazement, like, damn, Kodak watching this shit like this? Shit. But that's my absolute jam. Push these niggas off me like, that's my shit. Then, oh man, Savior interlude, man. Baby King is a motherfucking beast. And I had the melodic blue, and I also liked it surprisingly. It caught me off guard. I bought it to see where it was, because I liked the Range Brothers, and I liked the record he had with Kendrick, and I liked the album. But the way he spit on this Savior interlude, and he's kind of like speaking to kind of how his life would somewhat be mimicking Kendrick's. So I think that that's pretty cool to show that he could potentially be following in his footsteps. But his just flow patterns are dope. It's the new wave. It's not definitely not traditional, but it's like, if this is what looks like, Baby King is who Kendrick is gonna pass the torch to, and man, I'm a fucking fan. I like the shit. I don't know if nobody else. I don't know how people feel about it, but Baby King is fucking dope. If you look back at that picture, I played this shit a lot. Then Savior is Kendrick pretty much taking the crown off, and he's like, it's basically him saying, what he's saying, the cat is at the bag, I am not your savior. I find it just as difficult to love thy neighbor. So like, when you get back to the album artwork, you'll see that, a lot of it reflects him sitting with the crown of thorns, and he has a shotgun. It's another picture, I believe, that's inside, where he's kind of slumped back on the couch that way with the gun sitting in the corner. And this is basically him saying that, okay, I'm finna take this savior complex off, because that's kind of been a theme in his music. He has tried to speak to what he needs to do better, and potentially someone hear it and be inspired by it. So, that would be ultimately probably the closest thing I would say to the people that calls it political, because when I hear it, I hear him talking about his experiences, but him talking about his experiences and saying to himself he needs to be a better man, people could, I guess, maybe possibly interpret it like he's talking to you, but I don't know. But whatever it is with the Savior record, that's him just pretty much saying, man, look, I'm taking it, I'm taking this shit off. And then Auntie Diaries. This record, I actually think Auntie Diaries, it fits. It fits because it's just kind of like him. It fits with him, the narrative of him being open about something, and just kind of being able to put this in this album, because I don't know how this affected affected him, but it's on the positive side, and he doesn't have any gripes about it. This song isn't just my favorite song, but listening to it's just not my. It wasn't my favorite song. It's just a story about, I guess, having. I don't want to speak on this un, unintelligently, but the what is that the uncle that turned into an auntie, or auntie that turned into I can't remember, but he have that record. Then Mr. Morale, I think that's like my least favorite song on here, because it sounds like the music Kanye West records, and I'm not the biggest Kanye West fan these days. But the Mr. Morale record is about, I think, like everything coming to a head, and him just realizing that, okay, this is me needing to just let this stuff out, because it's like the next song, Mother I Sober. This is kind of like the big reveal in him, and it was even dope how he put it, where he was like the first half of the song. First, I don't really, not gonna say first half, but the beginning of the song, he's rapping in a trance like state, almost as if he's got his eyes closed, and he's kind of like just running down everything that, as to why he's here in therapy, so on and so forth. And he explains a lot of what has went on in the past that's affecting the present, with his wife, with himself, things that happened to his mother. Didn't know that his mother was violated. That was another thing. And then just kind of getting towards the end of it, and just kind of like just releasing it. And so, like, just when we move towards the end of the project, well, the end of the end of the project, it's about releasing. And even the last song, Mirror, and the whole concept of the mirror is him looking at his reflection, and his reflection representing his past self, and all of the things that he used to stand for, and him looking at his mirror and leaving his reflection in the mirror, and walking away from that reflection. I choose me, I'm sorry. And man, this fucking project is just, it's fucking brilliant. It's brilliant, it's beautiful. It's not the most lyrical. As a matter of fact, I started getting more out of the album when I took my analytical ear off. When I stopped analyzing it, when I started just taking it in, that's when this shit just started hitting me. And man, this fucking album is beautiful, man. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This shit right here is just my kind of shit, man. I just appreciate, not just out of rappers, I appreciate that quality in people. After we get past the initial whatevers, when I get to know you, tell me the real shit. Tell me what's behind these pictures that you put up. Show me what's behind the wall. And man, even more coming from a rapper who, when we think of rapper, we think about money, we think about women, we think about cars, a lot of them. And it's like, this dude just said, nah, I'm fucked up, and let me show you how fucked up I am. Cheating on my wife, having to telling her about that shit, dealing with my mom got molested, and she think I got molested. I'm struggling. I got savior complex. I got ego issues that need to die. I'm still dealing with friends that I need to cut off. I'm still fighting with this hood nigga that's in me. Man, I don't know what else to say, man. This album, this is it, man. This was worth the 5-year wait for me. Like I said, maybe not for you. If you're a pick up and play, yeah, this definitely isn't that. This doesn't bump like Sega, Kid Mad City, or Section 80. But a lot of people criticized To Pimp a Butterfly. That's one of the best written albums I ever heard in my life. This right here is not so much lyrical, but it's more about emotional intelligence. And this is intrusive in facing your deep-seated issues. Man, And it's got some joints that you can really step on here. Step to on here. It's kind of a trip how you call it Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And that's another thing. When I think about the concept of that, then you have the tap dancing next to the records. I'm wondering what that means. I know Mr. Morale is him, but is the Big Steppers, would that be his fellow rappers? Because in Mother I Sober, he was talking about, I see rappers and they've had things happen to it and they hide behind the chains and the tattoos and the money and all that stuff. So it made me wonder, are the Big Steppers the rappers? Or the Big Steppers his kids? That's something that I haven't quite figured out yet. But if we're just talking about the meat of this album, man, this guy just literally hung himself from the cross in the name of being a better man for his wife and daughters. Like, I don't see, maybe that's not the type of things that somebody may want to listen to, but artistically, man, this album just does something that I don't think any other rapper is going to be able to do, or even have the bravery to do. But yeah, man, this right here, I got a strong feeling this is going to be top 2. I know Lupe is about to drop. My heart loves this album. So I'm sure that other albums going to impress me immensely, but the fact that this album touched my heart, it's going to be hard for a project to top this year. As far as my rank within Kendrick's work, I will put To Pimp a Butterfly first, Section 80 second, and then I will put this. But I mean, the more I keep listening to it, I wouldn't be surprised if one day I put this first. Just kind of like have this first because my heart likes it, but then have To Pimp a Butterfly first because my brain likes it. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. This album is beautiful. I don't know what nobody else is talking about it. I can't vouch for nobody else. This shit is beautiful. I love this shit. I'm gonna be playing. I've been playing this shit more than what the picture says. I took the picture and then I didn't get to record the video that day, and I went back and I played the album 2 times a few days after. I don't know, man. This shit connects with me. I love this shit. And man, I don't know. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's trash? If you think it's trash, tell me specifically why you think it's trash. Break it down in a way to where objectively, I don't want to just hear trash. If that, don't even write a comment. But yeah, this album, it did it for me. Let me know in the comments if it did it for you. Just let me know how you feeling about Mr. Morale and Big Steppers, and what's some of your favorite songs. But yeah, man, it's until my next album, which I don't know what it'll be. I might do Lupe when I figure it out. But till my next album, peace out.